doctor, I was intrigued, and so I'm delighted that you're on, and I'm delighted you've come in to say hello. So I just wanted you to tell everybody a little bit about your incredibly interesting life. You're a mum, you're a doctor, and you've spent years on tour as a Riverdance cast member. How did you end up on stage in Riverdance?
Gosh, like it started, I suppose, I started dance when I was 5, like most people, but loved it.
Yeah.
And then I just did competitions, and then I got the chance to dance with a show with my Irish dancing school.
Yeah.
Loved that. And then when I was studying in my final year, I auditioned for Riverdance. And then, yeah, the rest was history. They offered me a place on tour, and I took it and didn't look back. So, yeah.
And where did you tour to?
Gosh, when I think about it now, so I did an American tour, Australia, China, Europe, Singapore, Hong Kong, South Africa. Yeah, loads of fabulous places.
So were you constantly on the road for a few years, and how did you cope with being on the road so much?
Yeah, so it would vary. Like you could have, a 6-month tour or like 4-month. And then you might get some downtime in between, so you get to come home. But you get so used to it, and when you're on tour, then that's just normal, and you come home and you're like, this is weird. So yeah, you adapt very quickly.
And how did, when you're on the road, what is an average day? Are you dancing constantly? Are you training? Like, what are you doing every day with your time, or do you have break times?
Yeah, you do. So again, I suppose if you're in one place for like a while, the morning's yours, like the day is yours pretty much. So it either like go sightseeing or simple things like catch up on your laundry, or like just keep things ticking over. And then you would have a call time for work. So you go in and you would do like rotations, walk through the show, and then you'd go get hair and makeup done, come back, you do a full company cardio warm-up, and then people kind of do their own thing to get ready. Like, so some people do their own stretches and have their own little rituals to get ready mentally for the show, and then do the show and come home and eat dinner and relax. So yeah,
just living on the road. But it's kind of living your dream. I mean, if you started when you were 5, it must have been the dream job at that stage. And do you have a memorable performance, or is just the whole time a memorable experience?
Yeah, like I think I have a few. Like, there's ones that dancing for my family for the first time, and things like that just will always be like etched in your memory. I suppose another one that would stand out to me was we did a performance, and it was at the Pyramids of Egypt. And I just remember having a moment. It was like an open air stage, and we were doing the American wake, which is like an Irish traditional one, like a big ceilidh. And I was swinging around the place, and I just looked, and I was like, how have I ended up here at the pyramids, like with Riverdance? And that's one that definitely just was one of those moments of like, wow, how am I here?
Wow, that sounds amazing. And you've danced in front of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, and you've danced in front of Michelle Obama as well.
Yes, actually they're both obviously very memorable. Michelle Obama, who I'm obsessed with, her performance was in the Gaiety. And it was like the day was just, there was Secret Service like going around the Gaiety, and then the crowd itself, they were all Irish school kids.
Yeah.
So like they were brilliant, never mind. And then Michelle came in, and it was just amazing. And we got to meet her afterwards. Like she shook all our hands, like spoke to us, took a photo, and then like a couple of weeks later got this envelope in the post. They had sent the photos to us signed by her.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's just as fab in person as she is on TV. So that was obviously amazing. And then the Queen's event, that was in front of 2,000 people, Mary McAleese, Taoiseach at the time, the RT Symphony Orchestra played the music, and again it was, a special performance, and it's just part of history, and yeah, they were both.
Wow, you have so amazing memories. Well done.
Gosh, now when I think about it, I'm like, wow.
I know, and you obviously haven't time to think about it because you're now a doctor. So when did that all happen? When did you always want to become a doctor? Was that part of the plan after Riverdance, or when did you decide that?
Yeah, so I studied biological science straight out of school. Didn't know what I wanted to do. My sister, all teachers, kind of being a bit rebellious. So I don't know if that's what I want to do. And my mom said, go do something you just like. So I studied biology non-stop for my leaving cert. So that's what I did. And then in my final year, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And medicine came into my mind because you can do it as a postgraduate paper, like as a student.
Yeah.
So I thought about it then, but I was like, oh gosh, I don't know. And then obviously Riverdance came up, and I'm not going to get that chance again. And then was on tour. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't well and subsequently passed away. So then that was a real kind of, right, this is what I want to do this. So came home, put the head down, and yeah.
Wow. So your mom inspired you. That's lovely. And
yeah.
Where did you go to college to train to become a doctor?
I did the graduate entry course in the lovely University of Limerick.
Okay, brilliant.
Yeah. So left Dublin for a few years.
So you've just finished your obstetrics and gynecology training at the Coombe, and that's how we were introduced to yourself. So how did you find that? How did you find your placement in the Coombe?
Yeah, I was kind of sad it was over, to be honest. Really enjoyed it. It was obviously kind of strange times because COVID and all the rest, but it's a lovely place to work. The speciality is obviously there's loads of highs, babies being born, which is wonderful. On the flip side, there's obviously lows with that as well. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it.
And what was it like working on the front line during COVID-19?
Yeah, I suppose anybody was just weird, unusual times, kind of. I think there was a lot of fear of the unknown as well when it started. And then obviously the added dynamic of you don't want your patient to be sick, but also you don't want yourself to become unwell. You don't, if you've vulnerable family members and that kind of concern that you don't want to bring home anything. But in such a tragic time in that, I think people just really pulled together, and which was really heartwarming, and the support that we got from public and everything like that was, in a weird way, was lovely.
Yeah. And you're a mum now of a little 2-year-old boy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you think that helped you relate to your patients in the Coombe, a little bit better? When, as a mum, I find, when you become a mum, you're able to understand other mothers better than before you've had children. So does that help you relate to those patients?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like anything, if you've gone through something and you've a bit of insight and you've been that person in the bed, yeah, absolutely. And part of my job would I discharge a lot of patients, and it's the most amazing time having a baby, obviously.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're like, it's madness as well, and just to even acknowledge that, with the new mum.
You were currently working in the Royal College of Surgeons and the General Practitioner Training Programme there. So what attracts you to general practice?
I kind of liked everything in college. So I was one of those students that I love this, I love this, I love this. And so I didn't want to just dedicate my life to maybe one.
Okay.
So general practice seemed like a good idea. And yeah, I like the variety that you get, and just that you can be treating, different generations within a family and that kind of thing. I really like that feeling of being in the community and getting to know your patients really well.
Yeah.
But you don't always get in hospital, they leave and you kind of think, oh, what happened there? And obviously, I like
getting attached. Yeah, you must get attached to people. I think if someone stays in hospital a long time, it must be hard because you just say goodbye and then you never maybe hear from them again. So at least, yeah, that's it. I've never actually thought about it like that. That's a great way of looking at it. You actually danced together in the fabulous Together Apart in support of frontline staff and essential workers. So what has been the reaction from that?
It was incredible. Yeah, I don't know. I think it just struck a chord with a lot of people. I think it was quite poignant and emotional, and just the music and everything. And I think it came at a time when, you know, we were in lockdown, and it was just a reminder that you are doing your bit by staying at home and not seeing people, which was so hard, obviously, people being isolated and missing people. So I think the reaction, everyone was quite emotional about it, and obviously my colleagues, like, you know, to get any support from the public in that, it was a real boost.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was privileged and honoured to be asked to kind of do it, you know.
Well, you're multi-talented, so well done you. Do you ever get downtime? And when you do get downtime, what do you do to relax, and how do you spend your downtime?
I do get downtime. I love just getting out, like just get out for a walk or out to the beach. So I kind of just, yeah, I can't be just getting out. And I would like a good Netflix binge or whatever's going as well. So yeah, a happy balance.
And if you could give yourself, your 18-year-old self, advice, you know, now that you've done, you know, you've been in Riverdance, you're a doctor, you're now a mum, is there any advice you'd give your 18-year-old self?
Gosh, yeah, I think if I met myself, I would have said, had you told me at 18 that I was going to be in Riverdance and that I was going to be a doctor, none of that was really on my radar.
Yeah.
So I think what I would say is anything is achievable if you just work your socks off. You can do anything if you just are willing to work for it. Yeah. I'd also tell myself, stop plucking my eyebrows.
I think we'd all tell ourselves.
Yeah. The bushy eyebrows are actually in. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's the main thing. And to any 18-year-old or anyone doing their leaving cert, and you think the next few years are the be all and the end all, that, you know what, if there's something out there for you, it will not pass you by. Just work for it.
I'm a total believer in that as well. That will be one of the things I say. If you want something and you work hard enough for it and you have a dream, you have to work for it. You know, it doesn't just fall on your lap. You have to work for these things. So thank you so much for joining us today. I have a few quick fire questions that I'd like to ask you.
Okay.
And one is my favorite question that I ask a lot of people, and that is, what is your favorite color, and is there a reason why?
God, I'm not good at these things because I overthink everything.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people, you know, it's people think it's a real kind of childish question because they're like, really? But when you think about it, it gives me so much information about a person. So I just
because I'm like, oh, to wear or for my car. So anyway, I think as a kid, I love the color like light blue. So I don't know what that says about me.
Okay. And what is your first drink in the morning?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay. I can imagine a lot of doctors drink coffee with the hours that they work. And what are you currently reading, or do you read? Do you spend any time downtime reading?
I do read, usually in holidays and things like that, but I am reading for the second time Michelle Obama's Becoming.
Oh, okay, so you read her. Excellent. And what is your favourite film?
I would say Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Oh, okay, classic. Yeah. And who is the person who has made the biggest impression in your life?
My mom, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Because she inspired you to become a doctor, and here you are now as a doctor, already lived your dream as a river dancer, and now you're a mum. So you've done it all, and well done. But it really shows that hard work pays off. So congratulations on everything that you've done, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us, because I know my mind was blown away when I heard about a river dancing doctor, not only a doctor but a river dancer. So we really appreciate your time and energy coming on. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you for asking me. Thank you so much.